Hey guys, Timothy here and welcome to my home studio. In this video, I want to give you a look into the room in which all of this started. Back in 2015, I started making videos with just my GoPro that I would then post on my Instagram. Eventually, I got some mics and started making drum covers on YouTube. And that led to me doing tutorials for worship songs and then starting a membership for worship drummers. This room has gone through so many changes and improvements, and because I will be moving out of this space soon, I wanted to create this video to share it with all of you and also to have it as a memory. I would like to think that my approach for this room was a balance of aesthetics and functionality. I wanted to feel inspired by how it looks and at the same time make every part of this room have its specific function to help me create a good workflow, from transcribing songs to then practicing them, recording the tutorials, editing the videos, and adding them all to my membership website. Overall, I went with a dark aesthetic, so all of the walls and the ceiling is painted black. To balance the black walls, I added some light wood elements such as this accent wall made of wood slats that is behind my desk, as well as these wooden shelves next to my practice kit. I then added a bunch of fake plants pretty much everywhere. Let's start with where I spend the majority of my time, and that is my desk. This is where I edit videos, run my membership website, and everything in between. I have a simple IKEA desk that I painted black to fit the room better. The desk sits on this manual stand-up desk frame so that if I'm feeling extra ambitious, I can stand while working. However, to be honest, this doesn't happen very often nowadays. On top of the desk, I have a 2022 Mac Studio that is connected to a 34-inch curved LG monitor. Connected to that, I have the Magic Keyboard, Magic Mouse, and Magic Trackpad all in black. Under all of this, I have a simple black mouse pad from Amazon. Next to my monitor is a wireless charging stand that I use for my iPhone and my AirPods. Although the Mac Studio has speakers, it does not sound very good, so I either use my AirPods or these Yamaha HS5 studio speakers. And I have the speakers on these Gator clamp-on stands, and the speakers are connected to the big knob monitor controller. That way I can adjust the volume without having to connect it to a Focusrite. One thing that I'm proud of is the cable situation around and under this desk. Before, I had the cables laying everywhere, and then I started looking into some videos on cable management. I found a good one and I got inspired. I ended up adding a plastic tray under the desk that now contains all of the cables. This way they are not in the way and it looks super clean under the desk. For the lighting, I have 2 black floor lamps next to the desk and I have some Govee light bulbs in them. I have 2 light bars behind the monitor and an LED strip on the back of the desk. Since all of the lights are Govee, I can use an app to turn them on, adjust the color and temperature, and set a schedule for when they automatically turn on and off. Lastly, I have this USB monitor lamp that is sitting on top of my monitor. Next, let's look at this corner of the room. This is where I practice for church sets, for recording tutorials, and also where I do Zoom calls with the members of my website. When I was looking at the layout of this room, this area was just asking to have a drum set in there. And so that's what I did, and for my practice kit, I have a PDP Maple Concept drum kit, and it's a 24-inch kick drum, 13-inch rack tom, and a 16-inch floor tom. The snare is just a cheap Mapex MPX 14x8 maple snare drum, but it works great for practice. On all of these drums, I have the black hole practice mesh heads, and for my cymbals, I'm using the Zildjian low volume cymbals. I believe these are 14-inch hi-hats, 16-inch crash, and an 18-inch ride. Since this room isn't fully soundproof, these are perfect for practice. It's fairly quiet, but it still feels like I'm playing my regular kit. In front of me, I have a 27-inch Dell monitor, which is connected to my Mac Studio. Having a monitor in front of the drums is super helpful when I'm practicing for recording tutorials. This way I can have the notations on the screen, and that significantly speeds up the process of me learning the songs note by note. Above the monitor is my old Canon SL2 camera that I use as a webcam. Years ago, when I used to teach drum lessons through Zoom, I was in search of a good web camera that would work in a dark room, and I found out that I can actually just use my camera. All it takes is a cable and installing a free software. I've been using this setup since then, and I highly recommend it for anyone that is looking for a really good webcam. I use the camera with the monitor for our membership Zoom calls as well. That way I can see the members and they can see me. Then on the left, I have a music stand with the mic, audio interface, and an Apple Magic keyboard with the mouse. For the mic, I use my old AKG overhead that is attached to this short mic stand. The mic is connected to the Focus Scarlett 2-channel audio interface. It's a really simple setup, but it works great for what I need. Let's move on to the part of the studio that you're probably the most familiar with, and that is where I record drums as well as make my videos. To reduce the echo in this room, I made these acoustic panels that you can see all around the drums. I used another super helpful YouTube video for these, and it's really just a wooden frame, rock wool, and some cloth to cover it. I have 3 on the back, 3 on both sides, and then 2 hanging from the ceiling. Around the drum set, I have some softbox lights that are key for making the overhead shot look crisp. Up here is where I have my camera, and I'm currently using a Canon R7 with some Tokina wide lenses. For the kick shots in my videos, I just use my iPhone 14 Pro on a tripod that is placed right next to the hi-hats. Next to the drums, I have a simple black folding desk on which is a 27-inch Dell monitor that I connect to my Mac Studio when I'm recording. For the keyboard and mouse, I just bring the same one for my main desk. In the past, I used to not have this setup, and so every time I wanted to hit record, I would have to go to my main desk and then back and do that over and over. Having this monitor and keyboard right next to me is an absolute game changer. Before we get to the drums, the last important piece is this TV that I use as another monitor in front of the drums. Most of the time when I record, it's for my worship tutorials, and I try to play the parts the way they are on the recording. I used to memorize it all, but it took a long time to do that, so now I can have the notations in front of me and know exactly what to play. Now let's get into the drums and the recording gear. I've been using this SJC Maple kit since 2015, and it's a 24-inch kick, 12-inch rack tom, and a 16-inch floor tom. Back in my punk rock days, it was my dream to have an SJC kit, and so when I finally got one, I just kept it even when later on I started focusing mainly on worship songs. This kit has served me well over the years, but I will be soon selling it and getting a new Franklin drum kit, which I'm super excited about. As my snare drum, I have a 14x8 Ludwig Black Beauty. I use all Remo coated heads, Emperors on the toms, P4 for the snare, and P3 for the kick drum. To muffle the snare head, I have a Remo tone control ring, and for the toms, I'm using some moon gels. I use all heartbeat cymbals, and I have 16-inch 10th anniversary hi-hats, a 22-inch Epic Crash, and a 24-inch Epic Ride. I use all DW hardware, and I have a 5000 kick pedal and hi-hat stand. For the drum mics, I use a Shure SM57 for the top snare mic, an AKG P4 for the bottom, Sennheiser E604 for the rack tom and the floor tom, AKG P2 for the kick drum, and the SE Electronics SE4400 as overheads. All of those mics then go to my audio interface, which is a Focusrite Scarlett 18i20. That then goes into my Mac Studio, and I use Logic Pro as my DAW. The last part of this room is mostly occupied by my dog Bowie. He has his own little spot with his bed and bowls. Above him are some DIY shelves made of 2x10s from Lowe's and some black shelf brackets from Amazon. On these I store things that I want to have quick access to, like my external hard drives, headphones, lenses, and my other camera. At the top I have a diffuser, and a picture of a tower called Ještěd from my hometown in the Czech Republic, and I got it as a gift from my friend. Next to that is a couch that I got mainly for when I have guests in the studio, but again, it is mostly occupied by my dog Bowie. I hope that you enjoy this video, and again, you can find all of the links to all of the gear in the description below. I owe a big thanks to my friend Joe, who set up all of the lighting, filmed all of these beautiful shots, and really made this video possible. This room will always hold a special place in my heart, and I'm super thankful to now have this video as a memory of this season in my life. And there are already tons of amazing studio tour videos on YouTube, and so my aim with this video is really to have it as a visual representation of my journey of going from a 19-year-old with a dream and no clue if and how it's going to work out, to now having the amazing privilege of serving worship drummers all over the world as a full-time job.